thank you for coming to our first workshop of Creative Standard of 2021. I'm so glad to see y'all and to know you're here with us. Today we have a special, very needed, I believe, workshop with the awesome Keisha Gillis. The name of this workshop is Align Your Budget with Your Purpose. And that's just what we're going to see. I think like we need to start their year right, and we need to figure all this weirdness and all this uncertainty in positive ways. And I was lucky to hear Keisha talk a year ago or something, thanks to Chelsea Hernandez, one of the line residents. And I just knew that more people had to hear her. So thank you for coming, Keisha. For those who doesn't know her, Keisha, she's a project-based consultant, serial entrepreneur, creative collaborator, and money coach. Her Align Your Budget with Your Purpose co-working style workshop shifts your mindset about money and teaches you how to get your financial house in order. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, Keisha. I'll let you get it from here.
Awesome. Well, that was a great introduction. Like, no pressure to be awesome tonight, but I'm feeling it. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I'm so happy to see your faces if you're able to tune in. If not, I'm just very excited to connect with everyone tonight. Connection is so needed right now. So thank you so much for joining in. I will be doing a PowerPoint, so I will be able to see you when the PowerPoint screen is open. But feel free to. There'll be certain points where I will stop the PowerPoint, and I want to get your feedback. I want to get your reaction. This is a co-working style workshop, so I hope you came ready to work on that budget, ready to do some exercises to really kind of change your mindset around money, honey. So Keisha will put you to work, just so you know. So be prepared for that. But I do want to get your feedback. I want it to be participatory. Is that how you participatory? That doesn't come out right. But I want you to participate. So you'll be able to use the raise your hand feature in the chat window. If you can't figure out how to do that, because we just learned it comes up for some people and some people it doesn't. So you could just type in the comments and we can unmute you. And we'd love to hear your feedback and make this a participation type of workshop as well. So again, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to jump into the PowerPoint and share my screen. Keisha, do not have 50 million things open. I don't need y'all to see all of my business. I think I closed everything. Get to presentation. Awesome. So this is Align Your Budget with Your Purpose. Again, it's a co-working style workshop, so I want you to be ready, taking notes. We're going to get some work done tonight to get you ready for 2021, and so you can slay those goals. So first, I have my name, I guess a nickname is the Queen of Budgeting, because when it comes to a budget, honey, I can get you right. Whatever you're working with, I can fine tune it and we can get it together. So I'm the Queen of Budgeting. You can find me on Instagram as the Queen of Budgeting. Also a money coach. So I started in the financial industry years ago as a financial services professional, which means I was the life insurance lady. Also would do 401k rollovers, setting up IRAs, traditional and Roth IRAs, setting up retirement accounts for businesses. I love the knowledge, I love the information, and I love sharing it. I didn't necessarily like the sales aspect of it. I just wanted to connect with people and help them get their financial house in order, help them feel confident in the choices that they were making towards their retirement and the choices they were making in their everyday spending. And so that's why Money Coach is more in alignment with what my purpose is, which is to help people. So Money Coach, motivational speaker, I'm that person that if you have a goal and you're a little timid about it, you probably don't want to tell me, because I'm the one that's going to hold you accountable. I'm the one that's going to say, wait a minute, didn't you say you wanted to, start your own bakery? How's that going? Let's talk about how we can get that going. I'm not going to let it go until you reach your goals. So motivational speaker. And I'm also a project-based consultant. My mama calls me that. As a project-based consultant, I basically work with small business owners, and we talk about where they're at. They tell me what their goals are, what their vision is, where they want to be. And then together we come up with a to-do list, and I help people scratch things off that list one project at a time. So whether it's in my wheelhouse Or if it's something that I'm not necessarily able to do, or if it's not in my expertise, I have a whole network full of fabulous consultants or people in their rightful industries, whether it be, accountants or HR professionals, that I can also refer people out to. So that comes with being a master networker as well. So that's just a little bit about me. But now it's time to get to work. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to get out a piece of paper and I want you to write down your top 5 goals and when you plan to achieve those. So I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen for a second because I want to, this is the participation part, right? So write down your top 5 goals. Now, these don't have to be money goals, right? Whatever your top 5 goals are, write down those top 5 goals. And then next to it, write down when you want to have that accomplished, right? So I'm going to go back to school and get my master's, or I'm already in school and I want to graduate and this is the date that I'm going to graduate by, right? That's the goal and when you're going to complete it. So your top 5 goals and when you want to complete it. Now, if this is a struggle for you, I saw it on Facebook, and so if you see it on Facebook, you know it's real, right? But it says if you don't know where you want to be 5 years from now, you're already there. So let that sink in. If you don't know where you want to be 5 years from now, you're already there. So we're writing down our top 5 goals. It's pen and paper, your top 5 goals, and whatever next to those goals, when do you want to accomplish those goals? Again, those don't have to be specifically related to money. When you think about it, it can be, I want to travel this year. I want to spend more time with hopefully we're in a pandemic, but when everything calms down and it's safe, I want to be able to travel. I want to see, my brother's kids. I'm just telling you where I'm at right now. I want to see my nieces and my nephew. I want to spend some quality time with my parents. I want to go on a trip with them somewhere. That's a goal of mine, is to spend that quality time and experience something new with my family. So, that's the goal and when I want to accomplish it by. Now, it might be a little hard because we don't know what's going on with everything with the pandemic, but 2022, I'm speaking it into existence, is going to be open for everything, right? So maybe that's my goal. By 2022, when things calm down, honey, I'm going to wild out. I'm going to have a great time. So what are your top 5 goals and when do you want to accomplish those 5? And people are kind of joining slowly as we're talking. So again, the thing I want to stress is, again, I saw it on Facebook, so it's real. But if you don't know where you want to be 5 years from now, you're already there. So having goals and having an action plan, that is how you move forward. But thinking about something, daydreaming about something, but not putting actual tangible goals and action steps to it is just that, a daydream. So tonight we're going to make some plans. All right. So now comes the aha moment. You've got your 5 goals down, hopefully. Before we do that, anybody want to share a goal? I just like to hear. So if anybody wants to share a goal, you can use the raise hand feature. If you can't find the raise hand feature in the chat, if you just want to type and say, I'd like to share, we can unmute you. But if you want to share a goal, I would love to hear it. Don't be shy. We're going to be family by the time this is over with, just so you know. You're either going to love me or you hate me, but hopefully you love me. Anybody want to share?
Sarah and Marisa are,
Awesome, I see it in the chat. So Sarah says 75,000 per year in 1 year from now. I love it. I love it. Make income. So that's Marissa. Make income from my artwork. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I love that. I'd like to save up to finish remodeling my home. Who is that? Cheyenne? Because I'm coming over for a house party. That's why I need to know the name to go with that. Because when you finish remodeling, I'm going to come through. Find my vision by the end of this month. Absolutely. Absolutely. So last night, if you don't know Grow Your Love Space, Melanie Holt Collins is the owner of that. And she did a manifestation board workshop. And it's a totally different approach to doing a vision board, and it was absolutely amazing, just the way that she put everything together and gets your mind going. So yeah, I just finished mine last night. So good luck on that. So find my vision by the end of this month. So yes, I love that. See, Melanie have an exhibition by August 2021. Yes, I love it. These are some great goals, great goals. So I love these goals. So again, for people just joined, what we did is we wrote down our top 5 goals, and then we assigned a time frame in which we wanted to complete those goals. Now, when you think about all of those goals, and I didn't say that they had to be money related, but you know, if you want to make income from your artwork, right, that is money related, and your artwork, it costs you money in order to produce that artwork, right? It costs you money in order to, you know, attend like vending events, or to, you know, go out and network and make connections with people. Like, there's money associated with those goals, right? Further causes of support through art and data analytics. Cole, I like that. Awesome. So all of the goals that you wrote down, in some aspects, there's money tied to it. So whether it be, you know, I want to pay off debt, so obviously that's money, or I want to go somewhere, or I want to advance my business. Like, you're going to have to pour money into that to make it happen, okay? So now comes the aha moment. So I want you to access your bank account. So hopefully, if you have online banking on your phone and maybe you're connected through the computer or something like that, but if you have access, I want you to look at your bank account. And what you're looking for is you're looking for your last 25 transactions. And in those last 25 transactions, you're going to decide, was that a need or was that a want? A need or a want. Now, you may be on the fence on some of these, and if you have a question, feel free to ask me, but the ultimate decision is yours. I can give you my opinion, but the ultimate decision is yours, because some of you are saying, well, you know, this is food. I got to eat. That's a necessity. But what you eat is a choice, right? So like if I'm, you know, in deep savings mode and I'm like, okay, you're not going to splurge, you know, you're going to meal prep, you know, you're going to eat this. And so I set myself up for success. So if I meal prep, I get tired of eating the same thing. I need a backup plan. I need that grilled cheese and that tomato soup that my daddy used to make me. It's nostalgic. I love it, you know, from time to time. I'll keep a PB&J in there. So if I get tired of that stir fry that I made for the week, I'll whip me up a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and call it a day. But I am not going out to get anything to eat. So when you look at those transactions, decide, was it a need or was it a want? HEB, need. Chick-fil-A, want. But that's my opinion. You may say, hey, I didn't have time. I was picking up the kids. I needed something quick. I went for Chick-fil-A instead of going to Cheddar's. I don't know. Like, it's your decision on whether that was a need or a want. But look at your last 25 transactions and you decide which ones are needs, which ones are wants. And if you have questions and want to get my feedback, again, feel free to type that in the chat. Use the raise your hand feature if you have that from your session. I am here to support you. The first time I did this workshop, there was a young lady and her face was just like shocked. And I said, honey, you okay? And she said, I went to Target 3 days ago and I have no idea what I bought. Like, no idea. And we've all done that, right? What about Christmas gifts? So great question. So Christmas gifts to me, for me personally, that's a necessity because I'm going to get my nieces and my nephews a Christmas present. Now I'm going to make sure that it stays within my budget because I don't believe that everything is about the gift, So to me, if it's a gift for somebody else, and it's within the budget that you set for yourself and you're not overextending yourself to get that gift, then to me, that's a necessity. In fact, when I set my budget, I have a category for charity and I have a category for gifts. And you best believe if I go to Walmart and I buy a gift, that does not go in my shopping category because my shopping category is for me. So if I outline that I can get some new shoes in February because I don't have a Valentine, so I'm going to be my own Valentine, that's in my budget, right? But if I get something for somebody else, that is in my gift or my charity budget. And I stay within that. Lucky for me, I'm a crazy crochet lady. So if all else fails and it's not in the budget, but I need to make a gift, somebody getting a blanket or a scarf, baby. I don't care if it is Texas, you just gonna have to work with it because that's what I got. Any other questions? And if you don't have any questions, I really want somebody to tell me how this experience was for them. Like, did it bring up anything for you? Like, how are you feeling? Was it a good activity? Like, let me know. So feel free to share that with me. Anybody? Did anybody get stressed out? You can say yeah. I'm the worst about eating out. Yes, yes. And that's a catch-22, right? Because we're in the middle of chaotic times, and, a lot of small businesses are struggling. And so supporting local, is a thing, and it's something that we should all do if we're able and if it's within the budget. Same, Grubhub is too easy. Yes. Too many coffees. Yep. Coffee was a big thing for that. We're going to talk about that when we get to spending leaks and identifying where the holes are in our budget. But coffee was a thing for me too. Absolutely. Home shopping network. Yes, honey. Yes. So when you analyze that and you look at needs versus want, count those up. Did you have more needs than you did want? So again, out of those 25 transactions, you decided whether they were needs or whether they were wants. And then you total up each column and you want to see if you're spending more on needs or are you spending more on wants. And not necessarily, you could do the dollar amount if you wanted to see, but I don't think that's really going to show you an ideal picture because the dollar amount for your needs will typically be higher, like your light bill, your phone bill, like those are going to be higher than a splurge to a restaurant, but it's more about the actual transactions themselves. Yes, I love that. So restaurant costs were high, but I want to support local. So I love that. And I love that you want to do that, Kim. And then what we're going to learn today is just all in moderation, right? It's all in moderation. And remember this, because as a small business owner, I do a lot in addition to project-based consulting. I actually have a new bath and beauty products business because when you leave me in the house, I make stuff, okay? But what I learned is like just somebody sharing it. So even if it's not in my budget to go out to eat as much as I can, if I follow them on social media and I'm sharing out their specials and inviting people to their page and doing my part for, word of mouth and making sure that my friends know about it, that is helpful to businesses too. So you're still giving back and you're still supporting with just a like or a share. So make sure that you hold that true. Awesome. Anybody else want to share? Feel free. If you want to come on and talk to me, that's there. Don't have to, but I love it. Needs versus wants. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my presentation. Keep in mind when I don't think we can. So if you want to unmute, so Cheyenne, if you want to unmute, we can unmute you. So we'll
Sorry, I'm okay. I just was testing.
Oh, okay. No worries, no worries. So just as easy as that. If you want to be unmuted and you want to share, just type it in the comments and let us know, and we can unmute you and get you in here. Anybody have anything you want to share before I jump back over to the PowerPoint? All right. So again, when I go to the PowerPoint, I lose you guys for a second. I can't see the chat window or anything like that, but I won't hold you too long on the PowerPoint because I like to see your faces and I like the interaction piece. But let me go back to my PowerPoint. So as we did that, let me wait till it goes back to the full screen. So again, we did the top 5 goals, we assigned a dollar value, and then we did our activity, needs versus wants. And so out of that, I don't want you to tell me what your priorities are. I want you to show me your receipts. So you have these top 5 goals. You have when you want to have those done by, but is it possible that the reason that you may have delayed yourself from hitting those goals is because your wants outweigh your needs? Are you spending too much money on your wants? And that's keeping you from that. So if you add up all the money that you spend on wants, how much of a dent would that have put into one of your other goals? You know, so for example, if I'm trying to, you know, if I wanted to save $1,000 for this vacation, but if I looked at my transactions for the month of January and I spent $300 just on wants, that was $300 that I could have put towards that $1,000 savings goal, right? So don't tell me what your priorities are. Show me your receipts. When your budget, when your money is aligned with your purpose and what your goals are, then all of that should match. Not saying don't treat yourself, but I'm saying be conscious of how you're spending and make sure it's in alignment with what your end goals are, okay? And you can quote me on that. This is the Keisha Gillis, AKA the Queen of Budgeting quote. Don't tell me what your receipts are. Excuse me, don't tell me what your priorities are. Show me your receipts. Now, let's talk about spending leaks. So when it comes to spending leaks, and I love to see faces. So I have my prompts, but I am going to come back to the screen. Okay, so when it comes to spending leaks, coffee. So first of all, I wake up like this. Like, I don't need coffee. I drink coffee because I like it. I probably should just do decaf because I'm like this 24/7, okay? But I love the taste of coffee. And especially when I was in the financial industry, I was going from meeting to meeting. I might, you know, meet somebody at Starbucks, and then I was meeting somebody over here, and I got to have the, you know, white chocolate mocha here, and then over here I'll have a chai latte, but add some lavender because I'm fancy like that. And so I may go to 3 different places and spend $15 on coffee, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? So one, I realized probably the reason I wasn't sleeping so much was because I was drinking way too much coffee, right? Also looking at my budget and saying, wow, you're spending too much on coffee. And for me, as a consultant and meeting clients where it was most convenient to them, I was also spending too much money on gas. And I had to realize that knowledge is worth it, right? Like, people find value in what I do. So I would have north days because I live in South Austin, so South Side. But if I go north, I would find a location, and this is where I would be. And then you could come and meet me there. And if that doesn't day work for you, well, then, you know, 2 days later, I'll be back north. But tomorrow I'm going to be south, and I would meet my south clients on those days. I also picked a local place. So one of my favorite restaurants is actually coffee shop is actually closed now, but he had a location in the Domain, and he had a location on South Congress. It was Eponus Coffee, and that was my spot for several reasons. One, I wanted to support local, and they have a reward system. So throughout the month, I would purchase my coffees, and sometimes I would eat in there, but I would earn points. And so at the end of the month, when my budget was saying, girl, you have tapped out. Like, this is what you said you were going to spend on coffees, and this is what you said you were going to spend on eating out. You have no more room in the budget. Then I would go to those reward points and say, but aha, I've got these reward points. What can I give you with this? Okay, I can't get a fancy coffee, but I can get a drip coffee, right? And so that worked for me. Now, another hack for me is Panera Bread. So I've backed off the coffee, and I switched to tea because tea is generally less expensive than coffee. So if you're still going out, you still want to support local, but you want to keep it within your budget, get a tea. I like Panera Bread because this number, $2.37. You got to say it just like that because I'm from Tennessee. $2.37. That is what it costs for a cup of tea. And they got 6 different kinds of tea. So Keisha might be in there for 4 or 5 hours to have 5 or 6 different teas, go to the bathroom 11 times, but I spent $2.37. Now, if I'm really feeling it, because they have a microwave in there and nobody's paying attention, I might just slide my meal prep meal in the microwave. Now I ain't got to buy no food. Okay, I didn't do that too often, but some days when it wasn't in the budget, I just have to warm up my little sandwich and go about my business. But find stuff like that. So for me, coffee was a spending leak. Also realizing, is it more cost effective to buy a Keurig and make your own coffee at home? Keurig, you can get it on sale maybe for $70, $80. And then you can get K-Cups. If you go to the Dollar General like I do, you can get a pack for $5, and that would balance out over three or 4 months of buying coffee. You could have bought maybe 2 Keurigs, right? So thinking about that. So that's a spending leak. Eating out, dining out can be a spending leak. So if you're not meal prepping and you're eating out every day, if you're doing Grubhub every day, chances are you may not be making the most healthiest choices, depending on, what your diet is. And then you have the fees, delivery charges, all of that. So that starts to add up. So your lunches can be a big spending leak, right? Another one for me, which sounds crazy, but it was a thing, the gas station. I pump my gas, but then they got that sign right there that tells me they got the twofer. Y'all know what the twofer is. Like you get, a Snickers, like 2 for 1 Snickers. Like I don't even know about the 2 for deals and all that kind of stuff, because then I'm going in and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go get these Snickers because I can get a Snickers and a Reese cup for the price of one. I'm gonna do it, and it's king size. Who could turn that down? So now when I go in to get the Snickers and this Reese cup, well, I can't just get that without a drink, so I got to get a drink. But to get the treat, I got to pass by the chips, right? So if I got a Snickers and a Reese cup, I got to have some chips. Then I got to have the drink, right? And then they got the pack of gum because I got the Cool Ranch Doritos, and then my breath's gonna be kicking, so I got to get a pack of gum. Now I've just spent $15. I might spend more money in the store than I do on gas because I got a fuel-efficient car. So I might only be putting $20 in the tank, but I may have spent $20, $25 in the store. That was a spending leak for me. So paying attention to my gas tank, knowing when I got to go, making sure I keep snacks in the car so I'm not tempted, and that alleviated a spending leak for me. So thinking back to when you were looking at your transactions and you were looking at those needs and those wants, is there something there that stands out? Somebody already said coffee, we said Grubhub, but look at those small transactions, little things that you spend money on that you didn't even think about it, right? Over time, those will add up. Another good one for me is I love to read. Didn't think I would like audiobooks, but I actually do. So I joined Audible, and Audible is like $12 a month, right? So I was like, that's a good investment. It's cool. Until somebody told me to get a library card. Library has Audible books. So instead of spending that $12, $12.99, whatever it is on Audible, I support the local library, got me a library card, and now I just download my books from the library for free, right? And it's the same thing. So thinking about where your dollars are going and then find more cost-effective ways, right? Because you work really hard for that money, right? Shouldn't it matter? Think about how hard you're working and making sure that you're providing a good living for yourself. So being conscious of where those dollars are going is very important. All right. Anybody thinking of any spending leaks that I didn't mention? Anybody got anything that you're like, oh, aha, like I didn't realize, or I didn't even think about how much that adds up? Any other spending leaks that I didn't mention? Y'all can tell I've been spending money, honey. Anybody else? Okay, so back to my desktop. Oh, streaming subscriptions. Hold on. So first of all, let me tell you. So I got rid of cable a long time ago. I got a digital antenna. On the digital antenna, I can get NBC and ABC, and then it's something like the ION channel. And with the ION channel, some days they do NCIS LA, LL Cool J. I mean, who wouldn't want to look at him all day? They do Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and they do Blue Bloods. Clearly, I like crime stories. I'm good to go. But I did add Netflix and Hulu, and I have the Amazon. Now, when I say I add, that means I bartered, which means I pay for Netflix, but my friend may pay for Hulu. I use my brother's Amazon. Like you can switch out, right? I actually am the one that pays for the Hulu. Be careful with the Hulu. I actually got hacked last month, and I saw a charge for over $100. Now, I pay like whatever the smallest plan is, $10, $11, whatever that is, but I had a charge come through for over $100. So somebody hacked into my Hulu, and then they bought everything, live streaming, HBO, Cinemax, like the works, right? But luckily, I monitor my account, and I was able to dispute that, and they gave me my money back the next day. So it was like immediate. But yes. Oh, wow. So it happened to you too. Oh, but it was your niece. Oh, wow. But yeah, but those subscriptions, but looking at those, because like I think, what was it? Jibber Jab? I don't know. It was one of those where you can make like funny little dance videos, and you put somebody's head on this little bitty body and they dance all around and do those things, and they have them for like Christmas or Halloween. And I thought it was just the cutest thing. Honey, I have been paying $14.99 for that thing for like over a year. And I don't know why. I thought it was something else. I wasn't really paying attention, but it wasn't until like I really cracked down on my budget that I was like, what are these little small subscriptions? Like, what am I paying for, and do I even use it, right? So looking at those apps on your phone, if you've got all these apps on your phone, when's the last time you used the Fitbit Coach? You downloaded it because you said January 1st, I'm going to work out every day, and this is going to keep me together, and I'm going to do it. But are you using it? And if you're not using it, why are you paying for it? So that is a very, very good one. Thank you, Clint. Yes, streaming subscriptions, absolutely. Look at what you're paying for. All right. Anybody else? Okay, so I'm going to jump back over. And yes, so we talked about, happy hour, which I didn't mention this one, and then let me just run through the numbers for you. So the average working American spends $20 per week. That's $1,000 annually on coffee. Happy hour. Average happy hour check is $70. If you did that twice a month, then that's an annual total of $1,680. Average cost for lunch per day is about $8, $40 a week. That's $2,000 annually. So that's $2,000 plus the $1,680 plus the $1,000. So now you're looking at over $4,000, close to $5,000 in expenses that you could probably avoid. That's almost the maxing out of a Roth IRA right there. The max for the Roth IRA, I haven't checked it. Last year, I believe it was $5,500. I'm not sure if they upped it this year. But $5,500 is what you can max out into a Roth IRA. And you put almost, if you're doing this is almost $5,000 in coffee, happy hour, and lunch. So that kind of puts things into perspective for you. So what is a budget? A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Anybody get to the end of the month and you're thinking, oh my goodness, where is my money? Like, what happened? That's because you did not have planned, prioritized spending. As hard as you work to make a living, you need to set some value to that. And so you want to make sure that you plan how you're going to spend, you prioritize what you're spending money on, and you're really tracking that spending. So what is a budget? It's telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Now, as you're setting these different goals, pretty much everybody's probably heard of the SMART goals. Make sure that they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant to what you're trying to do, and time bound, right? So when it comes to like money goals, I want to save and have my emergency fund, be specific. I want to have an emergency fund of $4,000, right? And I want to be able to do that in a 3-month time frame. So that I can accomplish this, or just so I can feel more stable. Like, you want to be specific and make SMART goals. So when you're setting these SMART money goals, set SMART money goals, you want to make sure that you're tracking your spending and that you're categorizing everything and setting hard limits for those different categories. So groceries, this is my limit. I'm not going to spend more than $150. I'm single, it's just me. But I'm not going to spend more than $150 on groceries. That is a hard limit, right? And you want to do that for everything, whether it be gas, groceries, eating out, drinks, whatever the case may be. But all the different categories that you set for yourself, you want to set a hard limit for the month. And then the fun part is tracking your spending throughout the week. And then you want to hold yourself accountable for staying within that budget. Now, you may be asking yourself, am I going to write down all these transactions? I mean, I might do that for a week. I might do it for 2 days. For me, you're going to get about 3 hours. I'm just not going to be disciplined enough to write down every single transaction. I'm not going to type it into a spreadsheet. That's not who I am. For you, that may work. And if it does, perfect. Track your spending, put it into a spreadsheet, keep it in a journal, whatever you need to do. But tracking your spending will give you a visual representation of where your money is going and what your priorities are. But the other way is to let an app do it for you. So I want you to download Mint. So Mint, M-I-N-T. So Mint is actually an app. It's the same people that make QuickBooks are the ones that make Mint. So remember I said this was like a co-working, like get your work on type of session. So if you are not on your phone, you can go ahead and download the app now, because chances are you're writing down all these things that you say you're going to do, but when you log off this Zoom, that might be it. So go on and knock it out now. If you're on your phone for this right now, but you have your tablet or your laptop close to you, go ahead and open that bad boy up. You can create your Mint account from a desktop version, okay? So let's download Mint. If for some reason so the way Mint works is you can pull in your checking and savings account into Mint. You can attach your credit cards. You can attach your cell phone bill, all of the things. And what it's going to do is it'll notify you when your cell phone bill is due. It'll notify you when they are charging you that interest on that credit card, and it's going to let you know exactly how much that interest is. Now, Mint can be very overwhelming, right? It's going to do all these wonderful things. I'm telling you the features, but that's just so you know, right? When I see that charge come through to let me know that they're charging me $37 interest on my credit card, right? And I've only been paying $50 a month. When am I ever going to pay that thing off, right? So I needed that aha moment. I needed the realization so that I can see that and then realize, okay, I need to fix my budget so I can pay this down quicker, right? So Mint is going to do all of those things for you. It's great to know the features. You're not going to use those all right now because I don't want you to get overwhelmed, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to set up Mint, and I want you to set your budget. So I want you to set how much money you're going to spend in groceries, how much money you're going to spend on gas, right? Now, some of you are going to say, I don't know, and you're going to hit a block, right? Trust me, this is what I do. You're going to hit a block. The thing is, you're not supposed to know. If you've never been tracking it, then what you have is an estimate in your head, and then when you get to the end of the month and you've run out of money, that's why, because you just estimated, right? The first month that I used Mint, I like to cook, I said, oh, there's no way I spend more than $300 on groceries. Keisha, it's just you. Like, there's no way you spend more than $300 on groceries. But baby, Pinterest? I get on Pinterest, I see a recipe, it calls for shallots. I ain't got no shallots. Now I got to go to the store and get shallots. Well, you got to go through the produce section to get the shallots, and now the Brussels sprouts is on sale. Well, I don't like plain Brussels sprouts, so now I got to go get something so I can, do a little soy sauce and some other stuff to fix up these Brussels sprouts, right? So I went in the store for shallots, and I came out with $40 worth of stuff that I didn't even need, right? This is me knowing myself, right? Had to stay off Pinterest. Had to plan my meals out in advance. But what it showed me through Mint is that even though in my mind I thought I didn't spend more than $300, I had already spent $200 10 days into the month. And I didn't have enough food to last me to the end of the month, right? Clearly, I did not hit my goal that month. But I learned, and I started to see where my issues were coming from. Yes, so Katie, yes, you can also plug in your IRA, Robinhood, investments to see where all your money is and your total net worth. Absolutely. You can do all the things. You can check your credit score through Mint. It'll give you updates to let you know with when your credit score has gone up or down, or, you could check it each month. It's got so many different features. It let me know that I was paying too much for car insurance and I needed to switch to Geico, and that is no lie. Like, if you knew how many wrecks I had, y'all probably don't want to ride with me. But it'll tell you all the things. I don't want you to get overwhelmed in the features. When you have time to play around with it, feel free to do that. But right now, I just want you to create a budget and set some limits. If you don't know, throw a number in. Chances are you're not going to be 100% right for the first month. The good thing is it's the end of the month, right? So you can see what you've already done, right? You can look at your past transactions. You can even go back a month. Now, realizing that December was the holidays, so that may not be an accurate picture of your normal spending. So maybe go back to November or October. You can look at previous months and see what you spent in each category to help you set those numbers. But I don't want you to beat yourself up if you're not on point with that number, as you start to track it. I just want you to put a number in and start tracking it. Use two-factor authentication for apps like this. Yes, very good point. Yes, the two-factor authentication to make sure that it is safe and protected. Yes. But yeah, so it's a great way to track. Now, if you don't want to use Mint, sometimes your bank will do it. So I am a member of One United Bank. It is the largest Black-owned bank in the country. And so I wanted to support a Black-owned bank, so I got me an account with them. And they have a similar platform to Mint built in to their app. And so I can set up my budget and do all of those things. So if your bank will allow you to do it, that's a good way to do it. I know that some credit unions will not connect to Mint. And so if you're having trouble connecting or getting that and your bank doesn't offer it, there's Capital, but with a Q. That's another app that'll help you track your spending. And You Need a Budget, so YNAB, or You Need a Budget. But the last time I checked them, they did have a fee. Like they did charge you for their app. So that's usually not my number one because I like free. Okay. But the goal of this is to set your budget. Now, the way Mint is going to do it is that you're in the green, right? And then as you get closer to whatever that limit is, it starts to go yellow. So you want to stay green. And then some stuff like for me, like if with my cell phone bill, like I'm going to max it out because I know exactly how much my bill is. I'm not going to have any extra charges. I'm not going to add any frou-frou stuff. So that one is going to hit right there. But for like groceries, if my limit is 150, the closer I get to 150, then it's going to, when I look at my budget, it's going to go from green to yellow and then red if I go over. So I want to stay green to yellow. I want to stay green most of the month, and then towards the end of the month, it's okay to get to yellow, but you don't want to go red. If you do go red, then you have an aha moment. You look at your spending, you see where you can tighten it up, and then next month you make some changes, right? But having that visual representation of where your money is going, it actually will give you a pie chart too to show you where the bulk of your money is going. So like for me, mine was food. So it was funny that it was a pie chart because I was like, oh, you're trying to be funny, Mint, right? Okay, give me a pie chart and then tell me that I spend most of my money on food. That's not nice. But yeah, so it's going to break down where you're spending your money and really help you see, where your priorities are. I've had married couples that use the same account so that you can, track it. So married or partners, like you can use the same login, especially if you have the same like joint accounts and those type of things. And it was funny because in one scenario, what some of my clients, the wife was all about the husband was spending money on fast food while he was at work. So instead of taking his lunch, he was eating out every day and he was blowing the money on that. And then when the end of the month came and we sat down and looked at it, she spent more money on fast food, but it was because she had the kids and that was the quickest thing to do. Like she was going from here to there. And then because when she buys fast food, she's buying for three, as him just getting a little lunch combo and going on about his business. So, but for them, they were able to see how much of their money was going towards fast food, restaurants, those type of things. And so that changed the way that they planned and did their budgeting, right? Because if you're blowing $150 or $300 a month on fast food, then maybe you don't go out for that nice dinner every Friday night because you already blew that budget on fast food, right? But that Mint app is going to give you that visual representation of where your money's going to go. It's going to allow you to set some hard limits and then hold yourself accountable. So it's not something that you have to look at every day. I mean, some people will because you just want to monitor it. But for me, it's before I go to the grocery store, how much do I have left in my budget? Okay, let me hit the pantry. Let me see what I already have. What can I make with this? And a really good tip with meal prep is put your ingredients into Pinterest. So like the other day I was like, okay, I got hamburger meat and I got cabbage. Why? I don't know. I was going to make some cabbage with something and then I didn't end up making the cabbages. So then I had cabbage left over and I had hamburger meat and I was trying to figure it out. So I typed that in and I found this really great beef and cabbage stir fry. And so basically you just take the ground beef and the cabbage. It calls for bell peppers. I had a bell pepper. I threw some onions in there. That wasn't in there, but I was like, we're not going to let them go to waste. And saute it with some soy sauce. I served it over rice, and it was awesome. And I had all the ingredients in the house. So Pinterest, if you just type in, like one day I typed in cucumber and pineapple, and I found the best cucumber pineapple salad. That thing is amazing. If you like a tomato cucumber salad, it's pineapple, cucumbers, cilantro, some onions, and you just soak it in apple cider vinegar and put some cayenne pepper in there. And when I say it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but that's because I had bought a pineapple from Sprouts because they were 2 for $5. I was like, well, I gotta get 2. I'll figure out something to do with this other pineapple, because I put one in the smoothies, and then I was like, I got to do something. So I made that, and that apple cider vinegar that preserved it longer, so it didn't go bad as quick, and I was able to use that. Another thing with smoothies, if you buy fruit, especially if you're supporting farmers markets, and you buy fruit in bulk, but you're afraid it's going to go bad, if you're a smoothie person, puree the fruit, put it in an ice tray, and freeze it, and then you have cubes of pineapples and cubes of bananas, right? And then when you're ready for your smoothie, just pop those smoothie cubes out, put it in the blender, you got a smoothie. But you can support local, buy your produce in bulk, and then just go ahead and puree it then and freeze it, and it works great. All right, how we doing, guys? Any questions? Were you able to download Mint? Were you able to decide which platform you're going to use as far as tracking your spending? I didn't mention the old school method is envelopes. So you have an envelope for each category. Right, my daddy's a cash person, right? So if you see my daddy right now, he gonna pay cash. He couldn't figure out how to buy gas from the pump from the longest because he is taking cash in the store. When they said they was running out of change, I called my daddy to explain because I did not want him going to jail for them telling him they could not give him his change. Okay, he's not happy about the fact that he could not get change in the store. But if you're a cash person, if you wait tables, you're dealing with cash all day. You put money in the envelope for each category, and when that money runs out, that's it. So if you have an envelope for eating out, when you run out, ain't no more food trucks for you. Ain't no more money in the envelope. That's it. You can't steal from one envelope and put in the other either. That's not how that works. Discipline, okay? But the envelope method is another successful method, especially for people that deal mostly in cash. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Everybody doing okay? Everybody good? Feel free to drop stuff in the comments. All right, let me see where I'm at. Let's go back to the presentation. All right, so we downloaded Mint, or we're using the app, our online banking app, or we're going to do a spreadsheet, whatever works best for you. But let's talk about the breakdown. So when it comes to your budget, 50, 30, 20 is the ideal breakdown for your money. So 50 is obligation. That's your bills, that's rent, that's your mortgage, or reoccurring payments like your cell phone bill, your car insurance, your health insurance. Those are your obligations. 50% of your income should go towards your obligations. Discretionary, that's food, transportation, and wants. Yes, food is a necessity, but what you eat and where you get that food from is discretionary, right? Transportation. So yes, I got to get from A to B, but can I really afford this car note, right? Or, I had a client at one point, made really great money, very successful young lady, came from money, was used to always having money. And so she, I say this to explain that she was using Lyft to get back and forth to work, and she worked downtown. Well, she would take a Lyft to work. And then for lunch, if somebody wanted to go somewhere, then she would take a Lyft, with her coworkers, and they would go to get lunch, and they would take the Lyft back. And then after work, they may want to go to happy hour, so they would take a Lyft to happy hour. And then they may go to dinner, so they take another Lyft then, and then she'd have to take a Lyft home. So she was doing all these Lyfts, and it was $3 here, $2 there because she's downtown, and occasionally they may venture out a little further. But in her mind, she felt like she was saving money by not driving and parking downtown because parking was so expensive. So she elected to use Lyft until I had her track her spending. And when she tracked her spending, she realized she was spending $1,500 a month on Lyft. Wow, it blew her mind. We had a meeting like a week out, and she called me 2 days later and was like, "What am I doing?" But if you have a plethora of money, if you're doing really well in life, you may not notice those smaller transactions because there's always money there. But is that the priority? Is that in alignment with what you wanted to do? Because what she was ready to do was to purchase a home, right? And so she needed to make sure that she had everything together, because it's different when you can call somebody and say, hey, this bathroom's not working, or when you own the home and you're the one calling the plumber and paying him. So she was having to shift her budget around to make sure she could cover everything, and that's where she identified that. So discretionary, because transportation, believe it or not, is discretionary. And your wants, of course, that's discretionary. So 30% of your budget towards discretionary spending. 20% is savings. So that is debt repayment. So, for example, if you're making a monthly payment towards your student loans, that is an obligation. But if you're paying on top of it so that you can pay it down quicker, that is debt repayment. And that falls in that 20 category. So if you're paying over on any of your obligations, don't count that overpayment in that 50%, count it over here on savings. So paying off your debt, saving for your emergency fund, putting money back for retirement, investing in, whether you're investing in the stock market or maybe you're investing in a friend who's a great entrepreneur or a great artist, and you're investing in them because you see their potential and see a chance to get a return on that. So that's savings. So that's the breakdown. Now, if you're not at the 50-30-20, most people are not, so don't beat yourself up, but this is the goal. So maybe you got to cut back in certain areas. Maybe you got to, try to find an additional stream of income so that you can get some things paid down so that you can get closer to the 50-30-20. But 50-30-20, from a financial standpoint and to financially thrive, this is the breakdown that you should be striving for, 50-30-20. Now, going back to that discretionary spending and how you can cut some of those costs so that you can get to that 50-30-20 goal, cut your food costs. So we talked about meal prep. Now, I realize that, it's COVID, and meal prepping with friends is something that may not be an ideal situation right now. Some people have formed pods of friends that these are the only, we only see each other, we work from home, we're not going anywhere else. So if you've done something like that, meal prepping with a friend and you feel safe, eating with them and that type of thing, then when you meal prep with a friend, what happens is, I can make the chicken Alfredo lasagna, and maybe, you make, I don't know, a pot roast, right? And so now I'm able to, I give you some of my lasagna, you give me some of the pot roast. I'm not eating the same thing every single day, right? Plus, if you cook big like I do, you may have food left over. So it adds to the variety. Another thing is to make foods that you can freeze, right? So for example, I love spaghetti. So when I make spaghetti, I make a lot of sauce, and then I freeze it in small containers so that later on a week where I'm too busy to meal prep, I've got something to go to, or if I'm tired of eating the same thing, I'm like, oh, there's some spaghetti in there. I can thaw that out and I can have that for dinner tonight. I do the same thing with shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie, I make all the ingredients for the base of the shepherd's pie, and then I freeze half of that. I go ahead and make some, add my potatoes and do all that. But then the next time I want shepherd's pie, all I have to do is thaw that out and add the potatoes. So thinking about meal prep in a sense that you can make, sometimes when you're cooking, if it's freeze worthy, make extra of it, throw it in the freezer, because there's going to come a time when you're super busy and you can't figure out how you're going to work in meal prep this weekend. Then you can go to the freezer and you can pull those out. I do this a lot with soup. So I'll make a vegetable soup. I may make a potato soup. Those freeze well. I love taco soup. So when I make those, make a big pot, I freeze those in small containers. And so then, after I've been doing that, I started that at the beginning of the winter. And then maybe a month in, then the next week I can pull out one thing of potato soup or one thing of the vegetable soup. And now I'm having two different kinds of soups this week because I planned in advance. So think of that. If you can control the money that you spend on food, you're going to have a successful budget, because we can really, food will either make or break your budget most of the time. So cutting your food costs is going to be key. And then set up a reward system. So Keisha is not saying you can only meal prep, you can't eat out. What I'm saying is it feels better when you earn it. So if I say I'm going to meal prep and I'm going to make sure that I stick to this diet, I'm going to eat my meal prep food Monday through Thursday. But Friday, I'm going to order some Thai food. I want the crab fried rice. I might even get me a spring roll, right? But I earn that. And it feels better when I know that I stuck to my guns. I cut my food costs. I ate my meal prep food, which means I ate healthier. I did my planning, and my reward on Friday is that I get to eat out. But life happens. So if Wednesday my girlfriend calls me and her partner has broken up with her and they had a big fight and she needs some girl time or whatever the case may be, and maybe I splurge, or maybe I just treat her and I send her some Tips treats, or I treat her and I send her, a Grubhub because she's having a hard day. Well, that was my sacrifice. So on Friday, I may not reward myself because I gave up my reward to my friend. And that is how you stick to your guns. That is how you stick to your budget. But set up a reward system. Treat yourself for sticking to your goals. Awesome. So why is savings important? I'm going to go back. Awesome. So I feel like I've been on the PowerPoint too long and I need to come back to you. So why is savings important? So this is when I learned that it was important to have savings and an emergency fund. So I'm a little spoiled. I'm the baby of the family. So, they got it right with me and decided not to have any more. I mean, that's it. I'm the only one that matters because I'm the baby. And, my parents did very well and they took great care of me. And so when I was pretty much didn't have that many expenses until I got out of college. I got on my own. I got my own place. I met a man. I moved him in. I'm grown, right? And then I needed new tires. So I called my dad and I said, Daddy, I need new tires. And he said, okay, we'll go out to the car. These are the numbers that you're looking for. Call around, get the best price. I said, Daddy, no problem. I got it. So I did that. I think that was a phone book back in the day. Got in a phone book. We're not going to talk about when I graduated college. Got in a phone book. I found all the different places. I called. I got the best price. I called him back and said, okay, Daddy, Sears, that tells you how long it goes, Sears has the best price on tires. He said, okay, that sounds good to me. I said, okay. He said, all right. I said, okay. He said, all right. I said, well, is the money going to be in my account tomorrow? He said, girl, no. Tell that man that you got living with you to buy them tires. Aha. Okay, number one, why did I call my daddy when I had a whole man at home? That was number one. And number two, I'm grown, which means I was supposed to be able to cover the cost of those tires. I needed to have an emergency fund. I needed to have an, oh, crap, I don't know how I'm going to make this work fund. So that is when I knew. So having an emergency fund is because there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something that happens that you can't plan for, that you can't foresee, whether it's in your life or somebody else's, because you love people. You have family, you have friends, and if something happens and they can't control it, they're going to call you. And your desire to help them because you love them can also derail your goals if you don't have a plan, right? So the emergency fund. Now the question is, how much do I need to have for the emergency fund? Well, everybody is different on their comfort level. And I think now going through 2020 and all the stuff that we went through, I think that number may have changed for some people, right? As far as what that comfort level is. But most people will tell you somewhere between 3 and 6 months of your expenses. Now, that is not your expenses, meaning I'm going out all the time, I'm hanging out, I'm shopping, I'm buying new clothes. That's not, What I'm talking about is the bare necessities, okay? I went back to the Jungle Book on that one, but that's okay. The bare necessities, right? So what are the bare necessities? What is my rent or my mortgage? What is my car note, my car insurance? Like, these are my set bills, because if you lose your job, you're not going to be out shopping and doing all the things. You're going to be at home trying to figure out what your next plan is, right? So what you need is the bare necessities. So figuring out, now that you have a budget, you've got the Mint app, you set stuff in, you're going to be monitoring it, you'll be able to identify what is your core expenses for the month, right? Multiply that number by 3, and that is your 3-month emergency fund goal, right? Now, some people will say, hey, I'm in nursing, I'm in the tech industry, those are careers where I can get a job like that. So if I lost my job, 3 months is all I need. Like, I'll be able to get another job and get back on track, 3 months worth of savings, and I'm fine. And that's their comfort level. And for them, cool. It's what you're comfortable with. And some people would say, I have a more niche job, and, it'll be a little harder for me, or, maybe if I lost my job, I'd want to take some time off and figure out what my next move is. And so I would rather have 6 months worth of savings, or worth of my monthly expenses, as my emergency fund. So that's why most people say 3 to 6 months, but it's whatever your comfort level is. If your comfort is 3 months, if it's 5 months, whatever it is, figure out what your core number is, what your core expenses are that you have to get by every single month, multiply that by the number of months that you want, and that is your goal. So that is your emergency fund. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and you're considering going full-time with your passion and you want to walk away from that 9 to 5, then my advice to you is to have a year's worth of your expenses, because that first year in business is make it or break it, right? That first year in business, you're going to doubt every decision you make, right? But the thing that you don't want to be worried about is whether home is taken care of. So if you want to take that leap of faith and you want to go out full-time on your dream, I encourage you to do it. I did it. I'm doing it. It's an emotional roller coaster, but I love it every day, right? But you need to have a year's worth of your monthly expenses so that throughout that year, you're not pulling from the business to survive. You've got your emergency fund, right? And then hopefully the business is thriving and going well and you're able to pay yourself, and that emergency fund can stay right there. But if not, you've got that safety net so that you can still focus on your goal, not be stressed, and you can make your dream happen. So I would say a year's worth of your expenses is the plan that you should be on in order to quit that 9 to 5 and go with your dream full time. Okay. Any questions about emergency funds, why it's important to save? Questions, comments, concerns? Everybody good? Okay. All right. So I want to cover the rule of 72. So the rule of 72 is the other reason that saving is so important. So if you're not familiar with the rule of 72, you're about to get familiar. So the rule of 72 is all about compound interest. So how long will it take you to double your money? So if you invest $10,000 into a mutual fund and it earns 6%, the rule of 72 is you take 72 divided by the rate of return, and that'll tell you how many years it'll take you to double your money. So $10,000 that's earning on average 6% is going to take you about 12 years to double that money. Now, how much are you earning in your savings account? Now, when you think about that, most people, now you may have, there are a few plans out there that people have told me about, but most time, your savings account, like a typical bank, is going to be paying you less than 1%. So let's just round it and say, for easy math, 1%. So if all you have as far as an investment goes is a savings account and it's earning 1%, then 72 divided by that 1, it's going to take you 72 years to double what you have in your account right now. Do you have 72 years to wait? And would that be enough? That is the question. So realize if you want to meet your financial goals, I say that you should consult a financial professional. I am a money coach. I don't sell products. I don't do investments anymore. I'm not licensed to where I can give you advice on what investments you should do. I can tell you how some of them work and that kind of thing, but I can't give you advice other than to say, find a financial professional, a financial planner, and have them explain things to you, have them look over your 401k if you have one. If you have old 401ks that are just chilling somewhere and you haven't looked at them in years, pull those up, find those, take control of your money, because a 401k that has been left sitting is just like leaving your wallet at the grocery store. We don't do that, okay? So you want to take control of your money. So I say, find a professional. And the question always is like, who do I go to or what company is better? It's not about the company. It's not about the company. It's about the person. So if you meet, book several appointments, meet with a few people, the person that makes you feel most comfortable, the person that you can share and talk money with, because money is personal. So if you feel comfortable talking to them about debt or student loans or whatever else you have going on, then that is the person. If you feel comfortable, if you feel like you can trust them, if you have friends that work with them that feel the same way, that is who you want to work with. Most companies have the same products, or, they may have some different benefits to each one, but pretty much every of these, whether it be New York Life or Merrill Lynch or, whoever, like Fidelity, like any of those, they offer the same type of products. You just want to get somebody that you're comfortable with. And I suggest getting a person as opposed to going with a company where you're calling a 1-800 number when you have a question about your money. So highly recommend that. Now, how do I start investing? So for me, like if you're like, I just don't know, I just can't find it in the budget, or I'm not sure, or I say I'm going to save and then something comes up. So a back end way to save is Digit or Acorn. So me personally, I use an app called Digit. I know some people use an app called Acorn. The difference between the two, Acorn basically kind of rolls up your change, if I understand it correctly, and I haven't looked at it in a while, but it rolls up your change and you can invest in like small, like penny stocks and stuff like that. So you can kind of test test the market a little bit while saving some money. So some people love it. It's an option. You can look into it, see what you think, check the reviews, ask your friends if they're using it, get their feedback. Digit is the one that I like best. And so with Digit, the way it works is it takes a small percentage of what you've spent for the day, and it puts it into a separate account. So the account is kind of like I think of it like PayPal. If I want the money, I just request it, and it's in my bank account the next day, right? You can also set a savings goal. So, for example, you can say my emergency fund needs to be $6,000. And Digit, I want to have that $6,000 saved by September. Then Digit's going to calculate how much it needs to take from you on a daily basis in order for you to hit that goal. And so you set it like a crock pot and forget it. So there's a lot of different features. You can say, I need to pay my rent, I need to pay my mortgage, so I need to have this much money saved by that time, and it'll slowly start to pull it. And then when that bill is due, you just transfer it over, you pay the bill. And they may even have bill pay by now. I don't use it for bill pay. I do use it to, for a travel fund. Like I know, okay, my brother's going to take the kids somewhere. I want to join in on this vacation. We talk about the cost. We're going in June. All right, so I need to have X number of dollars, for the trip. And then because I don't have any kids, my nieces and my nephews get what they want. So I need to have their spending budget so I can treat my babies. So I can set it and it'll pull a small amount for that. The app again, so there's Acorn and there's Digit. So me personally, I use Digit. What really got me with Digit, besides the fact that it's behind the scenes, was that when I saved my first $100, they texted me and they sent me a gift of Scrooge McDuck swimming through his money. And I thought I was going to lose it. When I saw Scrooge McDuck, I said, they know me, baby. When I hit 250, they sent me a video of, or a gift, whatever they're called, of P. Diddy making it rain. I said, did they tap into my social media? Do they know my life? Like, but they congratulate you, right? And so it's a really great set it and forget it. If I don't have a goal and I'm just letting it just pull a little bit each day, just take note. You can set the limit. I don't want it to pull more than $5 a day. I don't want it to pull more than $20 a day. Like, you can set that number. They pull it in the middle of the night after your bank has done all of its transactions. So, at night, in the morning when you wake up and all your transactions have hit or you've gotten money, all of that, they do it after that. So they make sure that they never make you go negative. And again, you can set the threshold. So the first time, I didn't set a threshold, and then I was like, oh, crap. Especially on those days when I paid, when you pay your rent or your mortgage or, a big payment, I'm like, woo, Nelly, who took $40? Where? And I'm like, oh, okay, let me set that limit, right? So you can control how much it does, but it's a great set it and forget it type of app. And the cool thing is that if you like it, refer it to your friends, and they give you $5 if your friends sign up. So it's really cool, which is another thing I like to mention to everybody. So there's a lady who I absolutely love, and her platform she's called The Budgetnista. And I listened to her podcast, and in her podcast, they were asking her how she made her first $1 million. And she said that a lot of her money comes from affiliate marketing. So if you're not familiar with affiliate marketing, the way it works is that you refer a product or a service that you would be referring anyway, that you use, that you love, that you would share with your friends, and they pay you for doing that. So they'll give you a link, right? So for example, I'm a damsel in defense consultant, so I really believe in women protecting themselves. I sell stun guns, pepper spray, the works. It's a website, you go to it, you order, I get paid. Perfect. Also do like empower hours and things. But there's an affiliate program. So if my customer buys a stun gun and they're going to share it with all their friends, they're going to go on Facebook and be like, look what I got from Keisha, right? As an affiliate, they can share that link. And people say, oh, I want one too. So if they order from your link, you get paid and I get paid, right? I'm an affiliate for Constant Contact because most of my clients do email marketing. So when I refer people to use Constant Contact, and I tell them up front, I know Constant Contact best because it's what I use and also because I'm an affiliate. So if you choose to go with Constant Contact, I can help you with it. I can do all the things, but I'm going to get paid both. I'm going to get paid for, you're paying me to set up your email marketing, and then Constant Contact is going to pay me for referring that. So I tell everybody, look up affiliate programs. Is it something that you absolutely love? If it's an app, if it's, they're doing ambassador programs for leggings. If you love a certain kind of leggings, see if they have an ambassador program and take a picture of those leggings and you might get a free pair. But look into affiliate and ambassador programs. It's a great way to get an additional stream of income just for doing what you do naturally, right? If you got something that you love, you represent it. So for example, this beautiful necklace, this is the Amethyst Garden. Love her to death. Plus for my friend, right? But I'm going to do that anyway. She needs to make me an affiliate because I would sell all of them, right? But that's an additional stream of income where you're just doing what you naturally do, which is just refer the things that you believe in or that you recommend. All right, so I'm going to get closer to wrapping it up before y'all kick me out. Present. So how to start saving. Another way is separate savings accounts. When my brother was saving for his house, he put his money, the down payment money, in a separate savings account, and he did not get a debit card. So the only way that he could get money out of that account is if he went to the bank. And my oldest niece was already here then, and so every time he thought he wanted something, he would think of her and the fact that he wanted her to have a backyard because that's what he grew up with, and he owed it to her. So he would turn around and go back. So he knew himself. He put his stuff in a separate savings account that he would not have access to without having to consciously make a decision to go get that money. Or invest with auto deductions. So just like you do direct deposit into your checking account, you can set up, most companies will allow you to set up multiple auto deductions. So, or multiple auto pays. So when you do when you set your withdrawal, when you get paid, instead of having it go all to your checking account, you can have, 200 of it go to your savings account. So that way you're not getting all your money and then you have to make the decision to move it over, set it so it automatically goes there. So it just happens. And you get used to having a smaller payout. So that's another way. So George Foreman did not just make the best grill ever in the history of mankind, but he also said this quote: the question isn't at what age I want to retire, it's at what income. So they're saying right now for millennials, the number that we need to have, I'm a senior millennial, so I guess that still works for me, but the number that we need to have is $2 million in order to retire comfortably, because at the rate of inflation and the cost of living and everything that's happening, we'll need $2 million in order to retire comfortably. So that could be it or it could not be it, but you'll want to see, you got to figure out how much you want to make in retirement, how comfortably you want to live, what you want to do. And that's the number that'll help you do that. So hiring a financial professional, that is what you share with them. My idea is I want to retire at 65. I think I continue working until 70, or I want to retire early. I want to be done by 55. Okay, cool. And I want to live here and I want to be able to travel. Like, these are the plans, these are the conversations that you have. And then from there, that helps you determine what your savings goal is and what you need to have in order to accomplish that. So the question isn't at what age I want to retire, it's at what income. What do I want to be able to do in retirement? How much money will I need? Now, I bring this up. I'm not an expert when it comes to student loans, but I had a lot of clients that just got so overwhelmed with student loan debt that they just said forget it, and they didn't pay it, and it went into federal defaults, and so the U.S. Department of Education was trying to collect, and they were just putting a blind eye to it because it can be overwhelming. So what I say is it's time to face it, time to face your fears, it's time to pull it out, but understand your loan. How much do you owe? What is the actual interest rate? And when are my payments due? So getting an understanding of all of those things. Know your loan servicers. So who do I contact? Because a lot of times, if you may have gotten your loan from your local bank at your hometown before you graduated high school. Your parents set all that stuff up for you, and then they sold that loan to somebody else, and then they sold it somewhere. So if you don't stay on top of it, you won't know where it's at. So know who's servicing your loan and that they have your contact information so you can stay up to date. Look over your payment options. There's a standard 10-year plan. They also have income-driven plan, which is based on your income contingent plan, and extended repayment. So look at the different payment options that they have and see what works best for your budget. And then the most important thing I can say is, if paying student loan debt is hard for you and it's a struggle, then keep living like a student. Y'all remember those student days, that kind of budget. But I will say that the most dangerous place that you can live is beyond your means. I'll say it again. The most dangerous place you can live is beyond your means. And so, that is, you were maintaining when you were making $35,000 a year, all the bills were paid, you didn't get to do all the nice things that you wanted to do, but you took care of business. And then all of a sudden you get a new job, new career, and you went from 35 to 65. And you're still trying to figure out, why am I living check to check? Because you're living beyond, you were comfortable at 35, but you added all these additional things because you're making more money, right? But now you're back in the same situation that you were in, living check to check. So the most dangerous place that you can live is beyond your means. All right. That was a lot of information, a lot of sharing, a lot of content, but I'm ready for questions. I've been talking, y'all. I didn't put a water over here. Woo, give me a water. But what questions do you have? How are you feeling? Was that helpful? What are your thoughts? Feel free to put those questions in the chat. If you want to be the one to talk, you can do that too. I have a question. Yes, so that's Marissa. If we can unmute Marissa, I'd love to hear from you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. So I, like probably a lot of other people, I'm still on unemployment, and I'm in between jobs, and I'm still kind of struggling financially right now. And I guess I'm wondering, like, I'm trying to save as much as I can just because I'm so unaware of my future at the moment, and where where things are going to take me financially. Like, should I up my, like, the 50, 30, 20, like, should I just like up my savings percentage, or like, should those be altered? I don't know, right? Like during times of uncertainty, I guess that's my question, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So, no, it makes perfect sense, honey. Perfect sense. So, I mean, the 50, 30, 20 is the goal when in ideal situations, when money is coming in plentifully and, life is good and everything's wonderful, that's the goal. But in the state of a pandemic, honey, we do what we got to do to survive. Mm-hmm. And I love the thought process of, I need to save, and so if you have money left over at the end of the month after you covered all your expenses and you could put a little extra in savings, absolutely. Because I think we've learned through this pandemic that emergency fund that we had that we thought was cool was not enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just not enough. I was talking to my brother today about, and he's in Nashville, and in Nashville, it's virtual only. There's no option where you can choose to send your kid to school or not. Like, it's virtual, period. Luckily, his job is making him virtual too. So lucky, he said, I guess it's lucky for him. He's like, I don't know, homeschool. But I'm like, bro, you gonna figure it out, right? But we talked about those single moms that have a 6 and 8 year old that still have to go to work every single day, but now their kid can't go to school. And so what are they supposed to do? So, right now, these are chaotic times. If you've got money to put back, put that money back, baby.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Put that money back, because chances are you may have to pull from it next month. You don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Great question. Thank you. Thank you for being open and honest and sharing your truth.
Yeah.
Awesome. See, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Incredibly helpful. Love it. Let me say, your smile, honey, you have got me going. So, like, I try to be extra funny just so I can get your smile, just so you know I'm with you, babe. Set a budget to meet my top 5 goals will be super helpful. Thank you. I'm glad that works. What are your thoughts on auto refinancing? Is this a major don't? My credit score has improved since I got my new auto loan. I looked into one loan, was offered a much lower percentage rate, but there are fees associated with this. Is it worth it on a tight budget due to the pandemic? So for me, that's do the math, right? Because there's a lot, like, you got to actually crunch the numbers. So yes, if you can lower the interest rate and that lowers your payment, that sounds like a good plan. But how are those fees going to impact you? Are those fees really, are they built in? Is that going to keep, like, I would have to understand the fees if I'm explaining this correctly. That's kind of the catch with, like, so like with credit cards too, like, oh, they got this great credit card and the interest rate is really great, but then there's this annual fee of $300. So did I really save, or did you just put all of that on the back end in this hidden fee? So I would say get an understanding of the fees, and as long as the fees don't take away that discount, then yes, auto refinancing would be a good look. So I know that that's a thing where, you get into the car and you get the rate that you can get at that time, but as you work on your credit and your credit score, or, there's new opportunities where you can get a lower interest rate, it's okay to refinance. Just make sure that those fees don't come back to bite you. My brother does mortgages right now, so he's been super busy with refinancing mortgages because it's a good time for that. So great question. And hey, Raquel, I know who you are. Any other questions? These are great questions. Cheyenne, you keep leaning into that camera. I feel like you want to talk to me, but that's okay. Let's see. The Certified Financial Planner website has lots of very good calculators for free. Yes. So that was the Certified Financial Planner website. That's a good one. Awesome. Other questions? Yes, Cheyenne, if we could unmute you.
Thanks. Yeah, so I added one to the chat, but I'll just read it. Do you have any good references for worksheets for long-term financial goals, like investing in property or starting a business, that would be helpful for planning for future? Or like websites or, I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't. So like the only worksheet that I have, and I can send it to Big Medium and maybe they can send it out to everybody. But I have like a debt repayment calculator. And the way it works is that you can plug in all the different things that you owe, what the interest rate is, what your monthly payment is, and then how much money that you can put in to paying down your debt, right? So it's going to calculate everything. And let's say that you're as far as your debt with like your car and all the different things, like if that number monthly, the minimum payments for those is say $1,200, but in your budget, you're able to put $1,500. So this is going to help you decide, where do I put that extra $300, right? And everybody uses different methods. Like there's the snowball method where you start with one, and some people will say I start with my lowest balance because I need that success rate. Like I need to be able to say, ooh, I killed that one, on to the next one, right? Whatever works for you. And then you pay that one off, and then you take the money that you were paying on that minimum payment and that extra $300, and you stack that on the next one. And then once you pay that off, you stack it on the next one. So that's the snowball method. Some people say take the highest interest rate, because that's the one you're going to end up paying more on, because it's a higher interest rate, regardless of what the balance is. If the interest rate is 28% and all the other ones are 5% or 4%, get rid of the 28%, right? And so you go with that one. So it's decisions that you have to make, but there's always exceptions, right? So if you have a New York & Company, yes, that's my store, they carry tall sizes. But if you have a New York & Company card and it's only $150, don't do a $20 minimum, pay the $150 and get rid of it, right? So it's decisions that you have to make along the way, but it gives you a visual representation of where you at. You can see how everything is. Also means you got to do your homework. So not just knowing your balance, but knowing your balance, what the interest rate is, what the minimum payment is, and then what you're actually able to put on that, and seeing all of those things. So that's a calculator that I created that I can send out.
Thank you. Clint Roth had his hand up. Clint, do you still have a question?
Hey, yeah. Hey, Keisha, this is all really great. Thank you very much. I have a question that maybe is too broad, but I don't understand money enough to really know how to narrow it down. And I don't know if you'll be able to help me with this question or not, but you talked about, I'm kind of in the situation like a lot of people, the pandemic has kind of decimated my income, but I'm optimistic that soon I'll be able to get back on top and start putting money away. When I get back to that point, what do I do? I know I don't just put it in a savings account. I have no idea what to do with it to make it work, rather than just putting it away and losing it to inflation. That's my
Absolutely.
question.
I love that question. So, and just to clarify, so you're not talking about like you got the emergency funds, you're working on that, but when you're ready, you've got some money that you're ready to invest for the future. That's the question, right?
When I'm ready to put away that 20%, what do I do with that of my income?
I love it. Okay. You were listening. All right. So with that 20, so in that 20, part of that is that emergency fund, part of that is paying off your debt, and then the other part of that is investing in the future, right? So you can decide with that savings, you can allocate it to those three categories. But the amount that you want, or the amount that you decide to invest in the future, how you decide to do that, that is where I would say you want to invest in somebody that you know, or find you a financial planner, or financial services professional, either one that can help you invest that. And ideally, I can't give people advice. I don't have my license anymore, but a lot of people like a Roth IRA, because that is something that you set it and forget it. It's an after-tax investment. And so when you retire, when you think about after-tax and pre-tax, so if you've got a 401k, that is pre-tax money. So when you retire, you're going to have to pay taxes on that money at whatever tax rate we're in at that time. That's the unknown. For my parents were working in the 80s and the 90s, and taxes were at an all-time high, where if you were making $100,000, 50% of that income was taxed. So what they did is they put as much as they could into a pre-tax investment vehicle, and now fast forward to their retirement age, the brackets are lower, and so they're paying a lot less in taxes on that money that they put back. So having a combination, regardless of what tax interest rates and tax rates and all those things are, having some pre-tax money saved and some after-tax investment is key, because when you get ready to retire, you can finagle that. So you take less from pre-tax to keep in a lower tax bracket and pay less taxes, and you could take more from your after-tax that's not going to be taxable, so that you can get the maximum amount of income in retirement. But Clint, for you to figure out where that money goes and how you invest it, if you're looking at like retirement accounts and those type of things, you want to find somebody that does that has a Series 6 and 63 license, where they can set up those retirement accounts. But if you feel comfortable with them, that's what you're looking for. For me, I check people. Like, if you tell me I'm saving, then don't be my Facebook friend, because if I see you in the outlets, I'm gonna call you out. Okay? That's the kind of relationship you want to have with your money person, because you want them to hold you accountable so you can stay on track. Now, as an entrepreneur, as a creative, if you've got somebody that's got a hell of a business idea and you could see them taking it to the next level, that's another opportunity as well. It's Austin. Like, it's so many fabulous creative people here. If you're willing to take that risk and you're willing to ride it out, invest in other people, and you could invest in a business too. And of course, real estate, all those different things, but you want to get a financial advisor, would really help kind of coach you and show you what the risks are and what your options are. Was that helpful, Clint? I hope it was.
Yes, that was excellent. Thank you, Keisha. I appreciate it.
Okay, good. All right, I think 8 o'clock was the limit. I can stay on a few more minutes if anybody has questions, but feel free to type them in the chat, or if you wanted to ask a question, I can stay on for a few minutes longer. You're welcome, everyone. And you can find me. So I am on Facebook as I have a business page, Keisha Keisha Gillis, project-based consultant. I'm on Instagram as the Queen of Budgeting. So you can find me there. I do money coaching. Like I said, money coaching is different in that, you know, with a financial planner, they're looking to set you up on accounts and do those type of things. As a money coach, I'm just in your business. So if you tell me you want to pay off debt, if you tell me you're saving, you want to take a trip, or you know, whatever the case may be, then I'm that check-in. I'm that weekly check-in, that monthly check-in, just to say, this is how I'm feeling. This is where I'm at. These are the decisions that I need to make. I want to bounce it off of you. And we work that way. Awesome.
Sarah,
All right.
Navarrete, do you have a question? Maybe not. She left her hand. All right, did you have a question, Sarah? No. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate y'all being here, and thank you, Keisha, for this. This is always fun, and I just love how light you put this heavy information. Like, this helps me so much thinking that I can actually make it happen. So thank you for that. I will send the sheet that you're going to give us to everyone that came, and this will be recorded. It's recorded and will be in our website and YouTube page if you want to reference it later. Thank you so much, Keisha, and thank y'all for coming. We have a coffee chat next Thursday with the Creative Standard Committee, so make sure you RSVP whenever we have it up. Anything else, Keisha, from you?
Okay. Thank you. No, it was great. I missed the world, so I love doing these, and you guys have been great. You participated, your smiles, your thumbs up. Like, thank you so much for being interactive, being vulnerable, and peace and love. Thank you.